Every day I see you is a fine day.
Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. Thanks to my dad for joining for a special edition of the Rombough Show. We have a little bit of a surprise for everybody. If you can't see by the title of this video, we're going to talk about football and Die Hard. Pretty much sounds like a perfect afternoon for my dad. So we got Cal, Berkeley, and Hawaii tonight in the Hawaii Bowl. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock my time and 3 o'clock Hawaii time. So it'll be fun watching that in the dark here, and it'll be light still in Hawaii. Cal Berkeley is favored by 1.5. Who do you like in that game?
Cal Berkeley. Yeah. Even though Hawaii's got the home court, I'm still going with Cal Berkeley because I got a soft spot for old Pac-10 buddies and that. And it'd be neat to go out there because remember last year they had some major overtime in the Hawaii Bowl last year when we did a video on that. So it's really cool to have Christmas Eve talking about a Christmas Eve movie and the Hawaii Bowl all on the same day.
Yeah, it's a special time of year. All these bowl games. I mean, people think that bowl season is dead, but I really think the opposite. We had some pretty good games last night. The Bushes, Baked Beans, Boca Raton Bowl. Louisville won that one against Toledo. The Frisco Bowl, the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl, Ohio beat UNLV 17 to 10, and in the New Orleans Bowl, Western Kentucky was able to squeeze that out against Southern Miss. Tomorrow we have no college football games, but on Friday we do have three bowl games. One in your very own state, Arizona, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. New Mexico and Minnesota. I think that'll be a fun game. Who do you have winning that one?
I'm going to go with New Mexico. Neither team has played each other, so it's really cool to have some new teams. And of course, New Mexico's one of our old whack buddies and stuff. But Minnesota's a good team. I think it'll be a good game. But I'm going to go with New Mexico. They're surprisingly were really good this year, and they were like four-way tie for first in the Mountain West. But I like the Lobos. I think they'll make a big splash there in Phoenix, there at the Chase Field there.
Securing a 10-win season, it would believe, for the New Mexico Lobos. So, I mean, that would be a massive win, especially over a Big Ten opponent, let alone it is Minnesota, but at the end of the day, still would be a terrific win. Central Michigan plays at noon on Friday against Northwestern in the Game Above Sports Bowl. I think that'll be a fun matchup. It's always so fun to see these group of five teams try to go up and beat these Power Four teams, especially with a potential meeting between, or it's actually going to be a meeting between the head honchos of college football. They're going to decide if there needs to be a group of five separate playoff, which I know you're not a fan of the segregation, but I do think at the end of the day it'll be good for the sport. I think let these blue buds battle it out, and they'll come to find out that blowouts are just part of the college football playoffs. They're part of bowl games. So obviously it wasn't the most entertaining this past weekend. I don't know if you were able to catch the Ole Miss massacre and the Oregon. I wouldn't say massacre because James Madison did put up a good fight, but that's not really the product I think they're looking for on the TV side of things.
Yeah, I mean the G5 teams have been a lot of fun watching their bowls and that. And I mean, if they have a separate playoff, they do it that way. Go for it. And hopefully they want to do it voluntarily because they are a lot of fun to watch. And the bowl games are just as much fun as the playoffs. And I hope they keep the bowls going because they got a lot of them. The cities really prepare for them, and they love having hosting these bowls. They plan for them all year long. So I think they'll keep them going. But if the G5 go for it because they make a big splash and people love the G5 teams and hopefully they do well. And Central Michigan, if they can beat Northwestern, that would really be something there in Mount Pleasant. They get all psyched there in Michigan there.
Before we move on to what everybody's been waiting for, Scotty's favorite Christmas movie, of the next 10 bowl games the rest of this week, which one are you most looking forward to?
Well, the Rate Bowl in Phoenix there, the San Diego where U of A's playing SMU, and then the Arizona Bowl in that too. So kind of local flavor in that. But again, I can pop on any of them. I watched all of the yesterday's videos and that kind of glimpse of all of them, but they're a lot of fun. Like Frisco hosts two bowls. You host a Frisco Bowl and the Xbox Bowl, so that's kind of cool. And then the Gasparilla Bowl and the Relax Quest are both in Tampa, and both the Pop Tarts and the Cure are in Orlando. So they have multiple cities in that. And the one in Frisco is at the Dallas Cowboy practice field, where they have a star on the 50-yard line and that. So it's kind of cool seeing all these different stadiums and that. Seven of them are in Texas and nine are in Florida. So 16 bowls in that. So it'd really be fun to attend as many as possible. I checked, Justin, and there isn't any father-son combos listed that have ever attempted attending a bunch of bowls. Can you imagine if we attempted to attend several bowls in one season? It's never been done, or at least noted. A lot of father and son do like baseball in the summer, hit all the parks in one summer. But that'd be fun to hit as many bowls as possible. We could set a trend for people to do that, other father-son duos to do that.
Well, if I have the same manager at work that I have now, I think he'll be pretty excited for that. At the moment, I'm trying to get some things in order to get some time off. We do have a big day coming in March, but that's neither here nor there. Right now, we're in the present, Christmas Eve, me and my dad. We're going to talk about 1988 John McTiernan classic Die Hard. Bruce Willis really comes onto the scene. This movie just sets up Alan Rickman. We can get straight into it. Do you think Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber is the best movie villain of all time, or do you think just for action movie, what do you think about Alan Rickman?
Well, I studied this Die Hard, and it's incredible what the actors had to go through in that. And he did a really good job, but he was really afraid of everything. He blinked every time there was a shot and stuff, and he was afraid he was going to get fired the whole movie. But he made it through. They saw what the potential he had, and that scene where he fell off the building, he had real fear in his eyes because they said one, two, three, drop. They did it on one, and so he got caught off guard, and he was scared to death and he dropped 30 feet or so, but he sprained both of his ankles. So he had some troubles there, but that was real fear. So they did use that scene, but he did a good job acting. And that fake accent was ad lib when he faked and did an American accent. And they used that in the scene when he portrayed another Bill Clay or whatever with an American accent and it threw him off. And they didn't know he could do that. So they made it real. So there was a lot of scenes in that made it interesting. And Alan Rickman did a great job on that. He'll be famous for that because he was a stage actor, first TV movie. So that was his first time. And then, so he did really good, Justin. It was fun to study about Die Hard.
Yeah, Alan Rickman, obviously that was kind of where he gets a lot of his praise. He does a lot of not personally for me because I haven't been as familiar with the Harry Potter movies, but he is very prevalent in the Harry Potter universe. Severus Snape is his character's name in those movies, but I did want to mention because this is such a special movie, I think, just for dads in general, and it's a lot of dads' favorite Christmas movie. What's the first time you saw Die Hard? I know for me, I saw it when I was just turned 20 in December of 2021. What was the first time you saw Die Hard?
Well, it was after I moved up here from Tucson in '88, it came out. So we saw it and that in '88 or '89 or whatever, right when it came out. So knew it right away and it was a lot of fun. But it's weird because it's filmed on Christmas Eve. A lot of people don't count it as a Christmas movie because it isn't like Santa Claus and all that. It's just action scenes and all. It happened to be a Christmas party on Christmas Eve. So it really counts as a Christmas movie. But Bruce Willis even said in an interview it really doesn't count because it's all action scenes and dropping C4 explosives down elevators, stuff like that. You don't see that in most Christmas movies, but nevertheless, it really counts as one. But it was a good movie, and I won't forget. It's one of the most famous ones. And of all the five of them, I've watched that one many times. Die Hard 2 on the airplane and that, and the three with that Simon Says sometimes. But the fourth and fifth I've never seen. So the
Same.
first one I really have seen a lot, and it really set the tone for the whole thing.
I could honestly say that the trilogy of Die Hard 1, 2, and then Die Hard with a Vengeance, it has the case. I mean, it's along there with Lethal Weapon. I know you love all the Lethal Weapon movies. Those two franchises really strong. I know the Lethal Weapon. I remember. I know 3 is probably your favorite. You would say of the Lethal Weapons, right?
Actually, it's two about the
Two.
South African guys with the drug dealers, and one is a Christmas movie because they filmed it during Christmas and all. So that was also a Christmas movie. And but two was my favorite with those South African. That accent is a trip. They had a South African dialect coach, so the actors knew how to use that accent. So that was my favorite. But Lethal Weapon or Die Hard one and Lethal Weapon two were my favorite on each franchise.
Would you say the 80s was the best for action movies then?
Yeah, because I'm not as familiar with nowadays as the action movies, but back then they sure were a lot of fun. Those two in particular, because the two guys on A Lethal Weapon, what a combo those two, Danny Glover and
Mel
who's the other
Gibson.
guy? Mellis Gibson. They were quite a combo. They were mismatched, but they were fun. And of course Bruce Willis and Die Hard. Those guys were really good. And then of course the big actor in the was Bell Johnson guy who played Sergeant Al Powell was a real key in that in the Die Hard movie in that playing the police officer getting all the Twinkies at the AM PM and all. So he was a good actor and I'm glad he was part of it. And they made a play on him because he had Johnson Johnson the FBI agents, so they made a play on Johnson's real name. So they talked about that in the Die Hard trivia thing.
And Reginald Bell Johnson, from this movie, he was able to secure a sitcom, Family Matters, which was a huge show in the 80s. I remember watching it with Jill growing up. It's a classic. So that's really cool that this kind of set up the whole cast. Alan Rickman obviously went on to have a really great career on screen, not just being a theater actor. And Paul Gleason, I did want to give a shout out to him. He is Dwayne Robinson, one of the cops. He was also in The Breakfast Club as the principal. He was also in Trading Places. He's been in multiple things, but I think just the characters in general is really what makes Die Hard because the plot is absolutely crazy. Like getting all those bearer bonds, right? They want to steal all those, and it's just absurd. But the Bruce Willis aspect of it, we have to talk about Bruce Willis. Just what makes him so is it the charisma? What draws you into him as the main lead in this movie?
Well, it is. I mean, he was one of the last pick. They went through a lot of actors that turned it down, and he took it, and $5 million, which is outrageous back then. But he lost two-thirds of his hearing in his left ear because of the ammunition stuff was jacked up real loud and was in those buildings and elevator shafts. So he lost two-thirds of his hearing. He's had to endure for 30 years. So, but he still did it and some other guys had to. There was a clause in like Frank Sinatra had to turn it down because, and then he had like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, guys like that turned him down, and they finally went to Bruce Willis as like the last one picked. So they had a lot of guys do it, but he did it and became famous, and all those actors were good. Val Johnson and that Dwayne Robinson guys and the Devereaux White or whatever his name, the chauffeur guy was really good. So they all became
Argyle.
famous. Argyle, yeah, and of course Bonnie Bedelia, the played the wife, estranged wife, and all. She became famous too. They all did, and so it was really good combination of actors in that. But Bruce, yeah, he was a real leader, and you asked like if I were in a situation like that, what I would do, I'd try to get help because I don't have the skills that he had or whatever.
You're
I'd
not
try
running
to get
around
help.
barefoot with glass in your foot and shooting guns and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little much for me, but you got to try to get help because they're in a confined space like that. And sure, try to hide in the building and try to get out of there, but they closed all the doors. And so our guy couldn't even get out. So it's hard to get out of there. So somehow alert the police to get some help because obviously that wouldn't happen in real life, but if you're in some adverse situation, you got to get help.
Did you have some facts? I know you've already given us plenty of Die Hard trivia, but did you have any facts for the audience that some little tidbits that you the general audience goer might not know?
Well, the one guy, can't remember his name, he started eating a Hershey Crunch bar down at the bottom floor and stuff. And that was a big thing. They made that scene. It was kind of spur of the moment. So there was stuff like that made it kind of interesting to do that. They had a little flavor like that, a humorous thing in that. So I did study some stats like I gave you, like Bruce losing his hearing and the jumping where Alan Rickman got scared to death and stuff like that. and those are the main trivia questions in that. And the that blonde guy who played his henchman with the accent, I can't remember his name, but he was actually a ballet dancer. And some of his moves in ballet helped him make the moves in the thing. I can't remember his name. He was the guy whose
Alexander
brother was killed.
Godunov, I think, and
That's
the
it.
Carl in the movie.
Carl, yeah, he's actually a ballet dancer, and so he got the role to be the bad guy like that. So, but his ballet helped him make the moves and stuff. So that's another trivia question. So there's a lot of different things, aspects in the movie, and the collection of actors is incredible when they put them all together.
I'm gonna give you a list of movies, and I want you to rank all them. So you might have to write this down. So
Okay, I'm
give
ready.
me Die Hard 1, 2, and 3 will be on the list, and then Lethal Weapon 1, 2, 3, and 4 if you want. Speed, Face Off. I'm trying to think of other.
Face Off is where they switched places. They took their face off and switched places.
Yeah, I'm trying to
John
think of
Travolta.
other.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Okay.
Travolta and trying to think of other 80s action movies. I know you mentioned Rambo, so you can throw Rambo in if you want. Of those movies, how would you rank them? And you can throw in Under Siege as well. I know you like that movie too. So throw in
Oh,
those
okay.
movies, and then those are kind of the ones because we can have a whole separate podcast for airplane disaster movies. Because I know Die Hard 2 is technically an airplane disaster movie as well. So, but in the Die
Right.
Hard spirit, give me a ranking for all those movies if you had to.
Okay, now Die Hard one I ranked pretty good, and Die Hard two, three um, was more just driving around New York City, if I recall. That Simon guy that wasn't as good as the other two. Now Lethal Weapon two was my favorite, the South African one was the Christmas with the drug dealers at the Christmas tree lot thing. Three was that was that one guy that was a police guy that left, wasn't he? That was that one. That was pretty good, but that falls after two, of course, South African. Now Speed two was the boat thing. A lot of people didn't like that, but the bus one was Speed one. That was really a lot of fun, and they were driving around L.A. and those scenes were real because when they were constructing that thing when the bus had to jump over the thing, it wasn't finished, so they used that scene to jump over. And Face Off, I didn't remember too well and that. But for Rambo, the one was the First Blood, where he was in up in Washington or Oregon, one of them, and they were going to throw him out of town, and the police officer was really rough on him. The guy that played him was pretty good actor. I can't remember his name, but I remember First Blood. That was also one of my favorites on that, and he had to battle tough because. There, I checked the laws on that. It's called freedom of movement, and they were denying him freedom of movement, and it's just illegal. So I did check that in that. So I do study the backgrounds on these movies and that. So, but and then Under Siege, of course, is really good. That ship they used the Mighty Mo, the Missouri, which is behind the Arizona there, but they actually filmed it on the Alabama. So when you walk around, like when we walked around there, we're in Honolulu there and went to the Missouri, that was not filmed on that. It was filmed on the Alabama, which is similar. So that was one little trivia on the Under Siege, but I did like that movie. And again, same thing. They're trapped in a spot, and then that one girl who was beauty contest thing, she became his assistant to help him out, Steven Seagal. So that was another one where they have somebody help him, and they had to go through all that. So a lot of those are really good, but I would rank Speed the one, Lethal Weapon two, Die Hard one, First Blood, and Under Siege probably, and then some of the others there are ranked really high. I could watch them all day, but those are all really good movies. And that Face Off I saw, but it was only like once or twice, so I'm not a real authority on that movie, but they switch places.
For some trivia for you, Steven Seagal, your guy from Under Siege 2, has a lot of crazy movies. He before he got into acting was a seventh dan black belt in Aikido. He was an instructor in Japan, and then he came over for his first debut in film in 1988, and then in 1992 was The Under Siege. And also on his illustrious resume, he is also a reserve deputy sheriff, guitarist, martial artist, writer, star, producer, all in film. So he has quite the resume, Steven Seagal. So uh,
Oh, yeah.
the
Mhm.
80s, I
Well,
mean. they don't make movies like they did back then. I think it's probably my favorite decade to go back to watch movies, just because you have a bunch of just crazy stuff. A lot of crazy stuff was happening in the 80s. So
Yeah, yeah, because he was trained in Japan to do all those moves. Like when he does the moves in the movies, that's his training. Because he's so good at self-defense, five guys couldn't take him on. He'd wipe them all out. So, I mean, he's really good. He's fast, strong. He's got it all. And so that was why, on Under Siege, can you imagine trying to take on those guys that took over the ship? To do it, that'd be like just like Die Hard. So, like, called it Die Hard on a boat is what they called it. So, but it was pretty good. He's an excellent actor. Is he retired now or so?
I think so, yeah.
But he left his mark. He's really good.
Did you have any other? Would you say the 80s is your favorite movie decade in general then?
Yeah. Now the airline disaster movies from the 70s were pretty good in that. And of course they did the spoof on airline disaster movies in 80 with Airplane and that. So that if you when you watch it for the first time, you just cannot stop laughing. It's so bad. But and then of course airline safety has improved so greatly nowadays. And then we've had to go through a lot of hard times in that. But airline, they don't really have disaster much lately because of what we've been through. But people are really, really good about going on airplanes and it's a business. It's a business trip automatically. We know what we got to do and we do it.
Is
And
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Airplane the greatest movie appearance by an NBA player?
oh yeah, and they made him thing because the boy was saying he couldn't doing the playoffs and he got pretty upset with him when he said that. And they haul him off when he gets sick and he's in his Lakers uniform. And that so they made a play on that, but it was fun having him play Captain Roger Murdoch, I think it was, because it said Roger and over, and the captain was over. So they made a play on that. But Kareem, that was cool to have him play that part. And then they made a poke fun out of his playing, and that boy made that. Of course, and then his father said that, and he said, "Tell your old man to go up against Walton and Lanier all night long." So that was fun. But Kareem did a great job acting, and of course, the Mission Impossible guy who played the pilot, Captain Over, he did a good job too.
Did you
So,
have, since we do have a little bit of time left on this special Rombo Show edition, did you have some airplane disaster movies that you wanted to give a shout out to, and what kind of draws you into the airplane disaster?
well, I love to travel because my mom was a travel agent and that and like airplane set or airport 75 was something because they were flying to Salt Lake on that and the plane hit the front of it right on the side there and they had to do a mid-air transfer to get a guy into Charlton Heston save the day. They transferred him in and landed the plane and all. And he happened to have a relationship with the flight attendant who was trying to fly the plane. So a little drama too. But those airplane movies taught us to just hang in there and stuff. And we all have to be diligent when we fly. And because I approach it like we are employees of the airline. We work for the flight attendants and the pilots. We do report directly to a flight attendant, when we go on a plane. So we're so secure in that. So we're always ready. You never get caught off guard when you fly.
What's the craziest flight experience you've ever had?
Oh, for me? Oh, wow. In 72, we're flying North Central Airlines from Minneapolis to Brainerd and got a wild thunderstorm, and there was a lot of turbulence, and it was wild. But we landed, and they had some flooding. They had in Crow Wing County, where Brainerd is, had like 8 inches of rain. The lakes were like 6 feet higher than normal. And it was just one of the worst floods they had in years. And it was in August of 72, we flew back there to
Were people
Brainerd.
like throwing up and stuff?
No, no, it's a short flight because it's only 130 miles, so it's like 40 minutes. But we got in and out. They didn't serve any food or beverages. You just landed. There's no time to do that. But it was such a wild ride that we got through it. But it was wild, and I could see the grown-ups because I was only 11 at the time, and I saw the fear in the grown-ups' eyes. So I felt I was protected as a young boy. I was only 11, and my brother was 4. Your Uncle Troy was 4. So we were protected in that. But the adults, I saw the fear in their eyes.
We've seen many fear in opponents' eyes on the field, but I did want to wrap it all the way back around since we are talking about nostalgia and memories. Do you have a certain bowl game, obviously, a bowl game in general, or just an Arizona bowl game that you really look back fondly on?
Well, the win over Miami in the Fiesta Bowl in '94, and we've been to
Desert Swarm.
three. Pardon?
Desert
Yeah, Desert
Swarm.
Storm, 29-0. We've been to three January Bowls. This one coming up against SMU on the second, the one on the first against Miami, and in 1950 we played in the Salad Bowl on January 1st, and your grandmother was a twirler for the Bisbee Band and attended it. So we are probably one of the few families that attended all three January Bowls in school history. So this is incredible. And so, yep, this is a big trip we're looking forward to because San Diego is like America's finest city. So we're so psyched about going out there. Half the population of Arizona goes to San Diego during the summer. Going in the Christmas time or New Year's is icing on the cake.
Yeah, it's really going to be Tucson West over there because SMU, their fan base isn't as loyal as ours, traveling wise. I mean, I'm not too familiar with the Mustang fan base, but I think the Wildcats are really going to show out. I mean, we sold out the tickets in what, less than 24 hours? So
Yeah, and I think with the spillover with the other tickets from Ticketmaster, I'm sure we'll sell 10,000 more and SMU's in Dallas and that, but they got some well-heeled boosters. I'm sure they can go in that. So they'll travel. I don't know as well because it's farther away. And they were in the playoffs last year, so this isn't quite as big a deal for them. But us, it's a big deal because we weren't expected to do anything. Come in 16th place or 15th place, and all of a sudden we're going to a bowl. So it's a little more exciting for us, but I wouldn't underestimate the SMU fans. They could show up too.
now I am curious, is this the strangest 3-year run in Arizona history with the 10-win Alamo Bowl season, the disappointing 4-8, and then a potential again 10-3 season?
Oh yeah, I mean, who would have thought? Switching coaches and to rebuild that fast? Because usually, well, before all this NIL and transfer portal stuff, you're talking 3 or 4 years. Like when Stoops came in, we were a disaster. It took him 4 years to build a team to get us to Las Vegas. Here we go right away. So yes, Justin, because back in the old days, it's a 4-year rebuild, but now it's one.
Yeah.
And that's why we rebuilt so quick, getting all those linemen and just started building from there. And that's the thing why we got so hot. We got those Mahdi and those guys, the running backs helped. And even though we lost a lot of guys like Gunnar Maldonado and
Jonah Coleman, who just
Jonah
declared for the
Coleman.
draft today. He did give a shout out to Arizona, so I do want to give a shout out to Jonah Coleman, not just throwing us to the wind. He did want to say he gave appreciation to the University of Arizona in Washington, which shout out to coach because didn't he get he went to both schools, correct? Washington and Arizona.
Yeah, coach, he doesn't have a degree there. He went there for a year, and if but he went there, but he went to all the Husky games there in Seattle when he went there for a year. But he's really a Wildcat because that was years ago in that, and he has a master's in Arizona. So, but he pulls for Arizona in that always. But it's good that Coleman did plug us because it was under trying circumstance because Jed left, and what's he going to do? So but at least he plugged both schools in that. And hopefully he makes it in the pros in that. Because I still watch when I watch Washington games. Prysock was on the D and Coleman was on the O, and those are the guys I'm familiar with. So I don't know where Prysock's going to go, but I don't know if he'll make a nice thing about us too. But he was a good player too for us.
Final question: is Fafita the greatest quarterback in Arizona history?
In the modern era, because back in my dad's day, Eddie Wilson was a good one in the early 60s. He was really good Q. I didn't see him play. I was really young, but Bruce Hill was my favorite guy back in the 70s. You got Nick Foles, who was Super Bowl MVP, was pretty good. Tom Tunnicliffe was good in the 80s. You've got well, Fafita, of course, with all the newer generation, would probably plug him
I
and
would say
that. So
Fafita 2020s for sure. Foles, I think 21st century, and then beyond that, we can kind of debate from that. But I think Fafita definitely the 2020s is his.
yeah. Well, I would rank all of those players way up there and give them all a shout out, including our longtime fans, because they appreciate. I know Eddie Wilson. There aren't many fans left that remember him. They're pretty much mostly all past. Because the earliest fans, I started in '67, and the earliest fans are probably 65, 64. I'm not the longest attending fan right now, but I'm probably in the top 5%. So, but Bruce Hill definitely is a biggie back in. He finally got in the Hall of Fame. It took forever, but he got in. So they're all really good.
9 days till kickoff. I can't wait. Thanks for joining, Dad.
Thanks a lot, Justin. I really enjoyed this Christmas Day podcast.